Okay, so now I'm going to break down the micro kit, show you kind of what comes into the sales kit. More importantly, a better overview of how you can use the micro line, again, on what's important and kind of being fluid with your jobs, with your installs, your designs, and how the Lumion product as a whole is just better for you than other things you might have been using in the past. So what it really starts off with and is based around is the module. And so, you know, when you talk about the three different options out there as far as series go, nano, micro, and macro, you know, micro being that middle of the road size, this is what you would kind of consider your MR16 size or class fixture. However, it's the size of an MR11. So when we were talking about the nano earlier, you know, the nano is kind of like your sub MR8, you know, but you have that MR11 plus power. So everything's smaller in size and stature, but the performance is not lacking. The performance is great no matter which line you're going to go with. Even though these Lumion modules now come not only in core, but also pro, meaning that core is like your static wattage, 3.5 watt, 5.5 watt for the micro, 27K, 3000K, 40 degree, 60 degree as far as the beam spreads go. With the pro, it's a 4.5 watt, for instance, 4.5 watt module, CCT controlled. So in other words, you can take that light with your pro remote and you can dim it down. So even though you can get this thing to barely glow, the reason you would still might choose the nano line is just simply scale. So I have a little tiny statue, or I have a little walkway, or a side little sub scene in my lighting design. Maybe I just have a small cactus plant material. There's no reason to use a fixture any bigger than you have to. So let's take that fixture and let's melt it down. Let's make it real small. Let's preserve the performance. That's nano. Micro is going to be your middle class lighting. It's, you know, crepe myrtle trees, Paula verde trees, mesquite trees, that sort of a thing. You have the different beam spreads available to you. You have different wattages. You have the CCT modules that are available, adjustable, I believe, from 2700 to 5000 Kelvin temperature. You also have the RGBW modules. They all look the same here. It's just what the technology that's built inside of these things. So now you can actually change, you know, there's like 12 core colors you can use. The base color is either going to be 2700 or 3000, your choice. And you can now give that remote to a homeowner if you wanted to, or if you just wanted these lights to be red, you just set it on red and forget it. But again, that remote can really work as a sales tool, a design tool. So when you go out there and adjust the lighting that night during your nighttime adjustment, you can set it and forget it, walk away. The job is exactly perfectly how you want it. So that middle of the road, let's go this kind of wandering off the path here a little bit, but getting back to the micro, you know, 3.5 watt, 5.5 watt. Don't quote me 100% because I'm not in front of the information, but I want to say it's like 325 lumens to like 429 lumens. So really great options there. IP68 rated. So a few things I didn't touch on with some of the other stuff in regards to the nano is these are IP68 rated. So I can literally take this fixture the way it comes out of a box, which is in this configuration. Again, it's going to come with a little baggie in the box with your O-rings you're going to use in certain applications. And so you can take this fixture, you can wire it up, drop this thing into a bucket of water and let it live as 10 years that it's rated for warranty for life. 10-year warranty on the LED modules, IP68 rated, you can submerge it, it'll live its life underwater. Anything you do to this fixture is going to further seal this fixture from the elements. So if I decide to put a hardscape top on there, which I'm going to show you here momentarily, it has another O-ring and a seal, it's just going to seal it off that much more. So the more things I do to this fixture and build it out, it just becomes more and more and more, I don't know what you want to say, robust or just you know, sealed from the elements, and it's going to stand up the test of time. So pretty amazing stuff here when it comes to the micro modules. Let's grab the top half of the sales case. and show you guys what comes in this guy. So, looking at the sales case, you may or may be interested in a sales case. More of the point here is to show you the versatility of these micro modules. And the case does just that. That's what it's designed to do. So that's why we're going to cover it in this video, and you're going to learn a lot from it. So one of those modules, this is just happens to be a module that's in the top side, but I'll go back to this guy for right now. So this is what you're going to get out of a box. You take the fixture out of the box. You might decide that you want a hardscape light. So you're going to go ahead and leave the module connected to the wire lead that it comes with. For the application for the hardscape, you don't necessarily need the O-ring, so you can put that aside. We do have the PVC sleeves for these things. So if you were going to use a PVC sleeve and set this into some pavers or into a concrete wall and pour around it, or a concrete driveway and pour around it, whatever the case may be, then you put these O-rings back on there, because those O-rings are the perfect interference to the PVC tube, and you get a really nice clean fit. If you chose to core this thing into the ground, we actually have a special size bit made. It's an 1 5/8 custom made core bit. And so what that does is at 1 5/8, it will slide into that core hole that you make just perfect. And it's not going to have too much slop. It's not going to be too tight. You won't have to put sand around it or anything. And then it's also serviceable. So you can get a scraper or something up under the edge of the hardscape light of your choosing and pop it up out of the ground and service it. So if something fails, one of the huge benefits to the Quick Connect module that I didn't mention earlier that I should, and I probably didn't think about mentioning it earlier because they very rarely have problems, is that it's serviceable in the field. So if anything happens to this fixture, you take this guy, this is going to remain in the field, you take this guy into your local distributor, you call us up over at Sonoran Lighting Supply, we're going to send you a new one out ASAP. Or come by in the store and grab one if you're local to our store. So we always have literally hundreds of these things in stock of all your options. But chances are you probably won't encounter too many issues with that in the first place. So moving along, we're going to notice in this case, and if you've ever seen the the nano or the macro case, you'll notice a lot of the same products here in the micro case. And it's just a scale thing. So now you've maybe gone away from like your secondary walkways. Now you're on your primary walkways, the walkways that go up to your front door, the walkways that go out to the gazebo, things in the yard that are going to direct your vision at night and lead you down a path to a destination spot. Now you step it up to the micro. So again, these tops, what I've got is square openings, or square tops, single side opening, square tops, opposing openings. Don't just think of these as hard or ground lights. Think of these as lights that you could put into a wall. So now you're into a wall like this, and you have openings going this way, and this hourglass looks if you're going vertical, or the opposite, if you're going to turn them left to right horizontally. So there's so many different things you can do with these lights. You create that rhythm again on these walls by putting 2, 3, 4, 5 of these things together within a maybe 18 to 24 inches or so. You're going to get a really neat pattern effect going across the wall. So don't be just thinking about just pathway lights. Think about hardscape in general. You have the square top with the 2 openings at a 90 degree. So again, you can put that at an intersection of a pathway, or you can put it on a wall. And you can put it in a diamond fashion like this right here. Mount that sucker like that. How cool is that looking? You have your 3-way openings. So with this guy, again, you can use it in a walkway. You can use it in a wall. I recently had a customer use these in step lights. There's an application where there was a pool down below where these steps were. There's a barbecue up here and a patio over here to the right. And what happened was, because the pool was so close, they didn't want to look up underneath of these lights and be able to see glare. And in the same respect, they didn't want to have glare coming down on the water, so that if you're over here at the viewpoint, which is at the patio, that you saw all these little hot spots. So, we did what we do best. We put our thinking caps on with our contractors, and I said, okay, I have an idea. Let's use these Lumion lights, 3-way opening, put those into the concrete steps. And now, even if you look up, you can't see into that light, but you've got light left, right, and down below, and they used those on the concrete steps and looked absolutely amazing. So 3-way opening square. You have your 4-way opening square. So 4 different openings, one on each side. You have your half open eyelid, and what that's going to do is it's going to give light out and then also down as well. So if you put that like in front of a pot or something in front of your house, you don't have a big eyelid sticking up, it's going to allow that, because the single source LEDs, and that LED source is lined up right with that opening. So you're going to get a lot of light pushing up, but you're also going to get light pushing out as well. So for glare control, if you're the viewpoint and I'm the pot or the statue that you're lighting up, 0 glare. That's what that's going to do for you right there. I'm going to skip ahead a few of them and I go back to this one, but you have that same style top in round. So that's that's the square option that we just showed you. That's the round option. Again, it's whatever style is around and present on your projects. You might decide to go square or round. Does the same job. Okay, going to give you nice light down. It's going to get some light pushing out as well. Just basic square and round openings. These guys here, again, you have your so it's really set up and designed to use as just a basic well light. So if you want to put this down below a tree or a plant or something, you can put these down in the ground. Give you an idea what that looks like. Let me just get the lenses out. All these tops that we're talking about come with a little baggie with some lenses. And actually pay attention here because this is very important. You take the lens, and if you notice this lens, it actually has a cut on it. So in other words, it's shouldered. You have this side here, and you have the larger side. The recessed side goes inside of the accessory, so that now it's completely flat. If I turn that around, you would notice that this creates a little divot right here, so water and debris can sit there, and it won't seal the fixture. This is a common misconception of how that goes in, because people see this module and that the fact that's recessed, and they assume that that little recess goes down into there, but that's just not the case. So always make sure that your stepped piece of glass goes up and creates a perfectly flat surface on any of your hardscape accessory tops. Next, you're going to take the silicone lens that comes with it. You can pop out that center right there. This is the important part. You're going to take that silicone ring, you're going to put it down there on top of the glass, and then you're going to take your module and screw it down. So that silicone ring is between your LED module and your piece of glass. The reason this is important, again, I mentioned that module is IP68 rated. However, can you imagine if you don't put that little silicone O-ring in there, and this does sit underground, what's going to happen? You know, dirty water, muddy water, silt, whatever it is going to get into there, and it's just going to clog up the output. You're going to block all your output from protruding from the light, and you're going to lose your performance. So that keeps it sealed up and operational. So that's what that looks like, square top. Probably one of our more popular offerings is actually the open top with the eyelid, and this is just for glare control. Anybody out there that has been doing lighting or designs lighting knows that the importance of having glare control, making sure that you're not going to get too much glare from a side angle or into a window or what have you. So you have your eyelid top, then you put your glass in there. You put your O-ring, screw your fixture onto that. How cool of a little wall light is that right there? I mean, that's pretty awesome. One other thing I want to touch on as I'm talking about this and going through these top options is you noticed earlier I pulled that little silicone ring out from the O-ring seal or the silicone seal. That fits in there just perfectly. So if you did need, in a pinch, if you needed to dim down that light, tone it down, maybe you weren't using the Pro module and you were using the cores, you could easily just pop that little silicone ring in there, and it's going to reduce your light output by probably, by at least 30%, maybe even 40, 50%. And actually, something else is really cool I want to show you. We're going to leave our glass in there. I'm going to take that back out. And bear with me for a second here. But the LAB016, these are all a number of different accessories, pardon me, that are available from Lumion. And there's reasoning behind every single one of them, sense and purpose behind every single thing that they offer and any manufacturer. So now I have this little piece of honeycomb. And with this, it's a banded piece of honeycomb, so it doesn't get bent, it won't get crushed easily. But that little piece of honeycomb fits right there in the middle of that silicone ring. So now I take that honeycomb, the silicone ring, I put it right down in the fixture, accessory top, screw on my module. Now, when I illuminate this fixture, not only do I have glare protection from this eyelet here, but also if I can happen to see in at an angle like this, from your angle here, that honeycomb, even though you might see some light reflection off of the frosted lens on the top, which we also have clear lenses, by the way, you're not going to see the light source. So the harsh glare that we always want to try to avoid is taken care of just by putting that little piece of honeycomb in there. And again, these are all options. Lumion as a whole is an incredibly affordable line that's very, very versatile. And part of that is leaving out all the stuff. Why pay for something that you're going to throw away? So everything's just an option. You can add it in there, leave it out. It's up to you. You're the builder. The way I like to talk about this stuff is, my kids, they like Lego movies. And so you can be the master builder. If you're familiar with Legos and Lego Movie, we always talk about master builders, and you can be the master builder with the Lumion line. Create exactly what you want and how you want it. So the last two accessories in the hardscape section of this case is you have the round half moon opening. So that can be used as a round marker light to go across the ground. It can be used in a wall to give light down like this. So very, very cool, very clean, little hockey puck looking light. And that same, dimensionally the same fixture, but 4 open sides is another option as well. So lots of options here with the Lumion hardscape line. And again, not to repeat myself too many times, but the idea with the micro and the nano being the smaller size and the macro being the larger size is just scale appropriate. Don't use the same size fixture for this big pine tree that you're going to use on this small little, Texas ebony or orange jubilee or whatever you might be lighting up. So you size appropriate for the application. The other really neat thing that is displayed pretty well in the micro case, again at the very versatile size being the micro, is all of your pendant options. And so I want to take a moment to show you guys how you can take, again, this module comes in the box just like this. I've shown you how you can go through and make a hardscape light out of it. Let's make a hanging pendant light out of it. So I'm going to remove the module from the brass nut, stretch my wire lead out. Try not to lose that little O-ring. Sometimes if you're messing around with it, I like to take that O-ring off, set it aside. Pull that little brass nut off. You can use your LAB035. I've crimped a little piece of stainless steel wire onto here just to show how you can mount that to a tree branch or something. But what you're going to do, again, that's the socket for the quick connect. So the options that I have, the mounting options, that has to go into whatever the mounting option is. In this case, I'm going to show you guys a little hanging tree loop. So the inside is machined perfectly for the socket. So you feed your wire up through there. Put your O-ring back on this little groove right here, sits very nicely, and pull that down into the housing. That's where this will live the rest of its life. Now you can take your LED module and you screw it right into that, making connection. Now you have yourself a nice little hanging pendant light, just like that. However, it's not quite finished yet. So now you're noticing these threads on the bottom here. So let's come up with some nice options to that. So this is going to be your short shroud. You take your it's this little finishing piece that's going to hide the threads. It's going to give you a nice little bevel on the end here, frosted lens for really nice light disbursement, and that's going to go and thread right on the end. And again, the little rubber O-ring goes in there as well. I don't have it in there currently, so you hear a little rattling, but the O-ring seals all that off. And now you can put that up around your tree branch, and it's a very, very nice looking hanging pendant light. Very short, got some glare protection. Again, if you can go one step further and you can incorporate the honeycomb if you'd like to eliminate any side glare that you might get from putting this thing high up into a tree. Or you may choose to increase the size of your shroud. Before I do that, actually just talk about this one really quick. Little firefly end. So that's, again, like the short shroud, but what you have there is a frosted piece of glass, and that's just gonna glow at night while, again, giving you a nice amount of light coming down, nice spread, nice soft and easy on the ground. So that's just for aesthetics. So if you want to increase the shroud size, there's these different options here. You have the next size up, roughly about 2.5 inches or so, perforated and non-perforated. So to give you an idea of what these guys look like here, again, same concept. You screw these things right on there, and now you have a little bit more of a substantial looking hanging pendant light. And maybe you want to go one step further and you have a pergola and you'd like to incorporate some lights under a pergola on top of, let's say, a dining table or something. Something that's, aesthetically, it's very noticeable. So you might choose to use the randomized holes, that shroud right there. You can put the frosted lens up under here, and what that's going to do is it's going to give you a little more light output by making the inside glow a little bit more. And when you put that into a situation of outside under a patio cover, luma wood structures, whatever the case may be, it really looks amazing. Aesthetically, it's just really fun to look at, and it does a great job of hiding the glare while giving you plenty of proper light output down on the ground, enough that you would want to expect. So moving along, the option here is the perforated shroud. There's all the same size holes. Okay, it's all personal preference. And then, if you have some really neat things talking about, up under a pergola or something, if I wanted to use this 13-inch glass rod, put that guy on there. You have the bubble lens or the bubble rod here. And now when you light that thing up, what's really neat is those bubbles all capture that light in different intensities. And so it really accents those bubbles. But again, it's going to give you a really nice glow in and around where you have this light mounted. And what's really neat, now think about the Pro modules where you can change the colors. So maybe blue, pink, purple, red, greens, whatever you want to do. With all those different core colors, you can change this to where not only are you going to get a little bit of that light on the ground, but you're going to make this whole thing glow just the same. And then the same option, the same idea, but in frosted. And frosted diffuses the light beautifully, so you're going to get a very consistent light throughout the entire frosted glass. And again, around it, it's going to be glowing as well. So all glass, so no worries about this thing turning yellow and kind of getting funky looking after a couple years. It stays amazing. And then you have some real basic options too. Some frosted tops. Like just little hanging, glowing orbs in the trees, and you have them the same thing with little brass bottoms. And again, just in line with everything else that Lumion does, some of these modules, or some of these accessories rather, aren't just really limited to being hanging lights. I can also take these accessories and show how you can take, just for purposes of just showing you, I'm going to take this surface mount. Again, the light wire, the little wire that the module comes with will be mounted into here, coming out. And I can take that now, and I can put my module directly on that. And I can take this little, LAB 103 top, frosted glass with a brass top, and I can put that right on top of that. And what that is like, that's like a little marker light now. That's something that you can take and put in a flower bed. You can put it along walkways, but it acts as a little marker light. If I wanted to get a little more height to this, maybe I wanted to make it a bollard. So let's put some of this stuff aside for a second. We get into the second, just to show you guys real quick, get an idea. This is the second layer in the micro kit. It comes with the same kit, and this is going to have a lot of your other options such as risers, T brackets, or T mounts, 90-degree mounts, so on and so forth. So I'm going to set this thing aside again and start pulling some parts and pieces out of it. But let's say you wanted to make a bollard. You could simply get your riser out. This is one of a few different sizes that they offer. Again, with a quick connector, both ends. So this is designed to mount right into a stake, because again, your wire lead will be coming out of here now. So as soon as I screw it together, I've now transferred power to the top. Now I can take my module, 3.5 watt, 5.5 watt, CCT controllable and dimmable, RGBW, whatever your options are that you choose or that you'd like to see. You screw that on the end of the bollard, riser, and then you can take your top and put that right on there like that. So now you have a really contemporary, clean, effective bollard. So just like that, I mean, I've taken that module and I don't know how many combinations I've shown you so far, and I'm only part of the way through this micro case. I'm probably up to 20, 30 different combinations, so pretty amazing. Again, the idea is to show you the sheer versatility of this line. And now that we're talking about bollards, I might as well just mention some of these options as well. So you've got the insides of these bollard tops come with a solid piece of frosted glass that mounts inside of the actual top itself. It has two little set screws here that tighten that down. For today's purposes, I'm just kind of leave it loose. You take that, you screw it right over here onto the top, closing the gap. Now I've got a single-sided opening louvered top for my bollard. Pretty amazing. I mean, that's just so clean. And I'm able to show all of this with this one case. And put this one back and show you guys the different options here in this case. So now I have the same style, louvered, but now it's double-sided opening. So light comes out of both sides. I've got a single-sided, just frosted opening bollard. Again, I could mount this on a short riser and rotate it and use this as a wash light if I wanted to. Pretty awesome. Or I can use it as a bollard. And that same look, the same style I should say, in a two-sided option as well. So again, a bollard looks amazing. Some of the other things that you might notice in this case are going to be, we talked about like a hanging pendant light and those options that you can create out of this case here. This would be a surface mount light. So you take this, the wire lead goes, I'll back up by removing this guy. Again, let's take that O-ring off for a second. Remove my wire lead from my tree hanging bracket that I mentioned earlier. Now I'm going to take this little cup, surface mount light, and I'm going to put the wire lead through that. Pull it through by putting my O-ring on there. We'll pretend that I did that. Let's take our module. Again, the LED module, consider it the heart of the system. Now I'm going to put that in here. So this has got 2 holes and it comes with some screws So you can actually take this and mount it up to a piece of wood for a patio or a pergola or a luma wood, whatever the case may be, under an eave. So now you have a little can light essentially. So if that's the mounting surface, that's what that's going to look like. Screw your module in there. And then I can take any of these options that I want and screw it onto the module, just as I was earlier with the hanging pendant light. The key difference is that now it's just surface mounted, so structurally mounted like this. I could even do, let's go extreme, and you could even put the glass bubble on there like that as well. So pretty cool. Wide open options when it comes to hanging pendant lights, surface mounted pendant lights, wide open. Some of the other options, let me just remove this for a second here and grab the second layer. Some of the other things that you can show when it comes to the micro case. I'm just going to take some of this stuff apart so that I can show you guys what it looks like complete. The riser goes there. The module goes there. That's the wire lead that is here. So I just have that removed for a moment. Are the different options here. So now you have the Micro Series Quick Connect knuckle. And the way you would use this knuckle, it's actually available in two different options. One being the Quick Connect. So again, you would take your wire lead off the module. It comes in a box with a wire lead. Remove it from the module, put it down into the mounting stake. Wire this into your lighting system, bury that down in the ground, bam, now you're ready to go. So another huge benefit that you guys might be thinking, maybe you haven't, so I'll mention it, is with these pretty lights, any lights, whether they're this antique brass, they're black, they're bronze, powder coated, satin finishes, whatever the case may be, we're out here digging around in this landscape. One of the big issues is getting your hands on these fixtures and installing them and having these fingerprints and handprints all over these gorgeous fixtures. Think of this. With this Quick Connect system, you can literally install all these stakes, get them all buried in the ground, go wash your hands, now get your fixtures out of the box, screw them in place. After you finish all your landscape construction, if you're doing that part of the job, if maybe you're just doing the lighting, everything's brand new looking now, just as it should be. So no more going back and having to clean everything up at the end of the install. So this is the LAB 164 accessory knuckle. And what this allows you to do with the Quick Connect is put it right onto a Quick Connect stake. You can put it onto a surface mount. So if I have this up onto some sort of a pergola or something. I keep mentioning pergolas. We got a lot of them out here, so it's easy to talk about. Under an eave, surface mounted onto hardscape, whatever the case may be, you can easily use this knuckle and use it across any of the mounting options that have the Quick Connect options, including being able to put a riser on it, because all the Quick Connect risers come fully wired and ready to go. So when I connect to this stake, and if I have some shrubs around where the fixture is going to go, but I'm trying to light up this tree that's over here, I can simply just screw my riser on. Available in different heights, all the way up to 24 inches. Then you take your fixture and you screw that on. So long are the days of getting your risers, fishing your wires through them, assembling the whole thing, twisting the wires up, breaking connections, you name it. So it's just very, very simple. So now I've got my Quick Connect stake, I've got a riser. This happens to be a 4-inch riser. I've got my fixture knuckle. From here, you take your module, put it right onto the knuckle, take the O-rings that come with every module. We're going to put those on there. And maybe I need a spotlight. So you take your spotlight accessory, your shroud, you stick that right on there like that. Now I have a spotlight. And again, the knuckle is adjustable, so you just loosen the screw right here and you can aim it any degree you'd like. It's a pretty slick looking setup here. If I needed a wash light, then rather than buying the spotlight shroud, you just buy the wash light shroud. Same knuckle, same module, same riser if you need a riser, same stake, and now I've got a spotlight. Very clean, simple, straightforward wash light shroud. If you require a little additional glare protection, we have that for you as well. So I'm going to set this down for a moment and show you guys the difference here. So this was the standard one I just showed you, and this is the extended version here. And the idea is it just gives you more glare protection. So I can take that, put it right onto that. Again, I can adjust this knuckle any degree that I need to. I've talked about that adjustment, but let's just say I've got this thing down on the ground and I've noticed that I'm trying to light that up right there, but I've got it clocked incorrectly. Well, I could just turn it like this, but then it's loose, okay? Just like if you were in a threaded stake. So now what you do is you just take this ring loose, and this is ratcheting. So you aim it where you need to aim it, you tighten it up, and now it's locked into that position. I can loosen the knuckle, I can aim it up at a 45, whatever I need to do, but completely adjustable, very clean, all matching components, same color, antique brass, looks fantastic. Additionally, what you get in these cases, you get the riser, which I touched on a little earlier, and with the riser, you can use these as bollard toppers. You can use them as hanging lights, pendant lights with some sort of a top on it from there, or a decorative shroud. But you also have all of these different options here. So you have like a 90 degree. So let's just, let's have fun with something. Let's create something. So I've got a surface mount. I've got an elbow. Let's put a module on this. Let me remove it from the knuckle I was just showing you. In this scenario, we're not going to need the O-rings, so those come off. Put that on to the 90. And let's take a path light top. So now let's just say I've got some path lights in and around the property, and I get to an area where now I have like a retaining wall that's next to a pathway, maybe not a really appropriate area to use path lights, but I do have a wall to mount to. So now I can use something like this, put on the wall, and I've got a really neat little light that matches the rest of the lights throughout the property and is hardscape mounted. So that's pretty cool. Very neat. In addition to the 90s, we've also got them, this would be the nano size. So in other words, the diameter of this is the same diameter as a nano style fixture, but you can use it for the micro, macro, whatever you need to. But I've also got the micro size, which the difference is literally just the diameter. So if you want that little more robust look, you just thread that on there, and it's a little larger. So just aesthetics. This is all designer preference, whatever you'd like. So those are the 90s, and then we also have the T's available as well. So you've got the Nano T, where you can mount this to that surface mount, and I can have a spotlight up and a wash light down, or I can have the glass, bollard side up and a spotlight shroud, whatever you want to do. I mean, it's completely wide open, your design preference. In addition to the nano diameter size, I've got the micro. So same idea, same concept, just different diameter. So pretty robust demo kit here. We've even got these little lawn rings, so you can take, back up a little bit here. You could take a hardscape light. You can put your lens in there. I'll just use this module, seeing that it's out. Put this together, and maybe you just want to have something that just identifies more space. Maybe it's in some turf or something, but now that's a pretty clean look as well. So that just is literally just a beauty ring is all it is. Functional as well, so you don't have grass blades that go up and over the light, but it's a very, very clean look. So that is a basic overview of the micro case and how you can utilize it to show many different installation options. With that being said, I think we should take a look at the micro case, or excuse me, the macro case.